Get into Pure West Radio. Pure West Radio.
Good evening and a very warm welcome once again this Sunday night. It's the 5th of February and the time now is 9:07, just coming up to 9:08. And you're tuned into myself, Lynn, Sheryl, Perfect, here on Heart to Heart. Now, we have an amazing show lined up for you tonight. As joining me live on the phone lines here at our studio in Haverfordwest is the very inspiring, sensitive singer, songwriter, voice facilitator and founder of Lunar Harp Project, Joie de Winter. Now, Joy will be sharing her unique and personal journey of healing with the voice and how she spent time with a Siberian medicine woman singing and walking on pilgrimages across the UK and in Mexico, as well as holding heart song circles in nature. So stay tuned and hear her story and teachings of how she turned a plant medicine vision of making 13 harps for 13 women into reality. We're live for the next 2 hours here at Pure West Radio. From the very lovely Joie de Winter, who's joining me tonight. Good evening, Joy.
Hello, Lynn. How are you doing?
Oh, thank you so much for joining me this Sunday night. I know there is just so much information that our listeners are going to get from you tonight to help aid, as you do so much. My goodness. I mean, you do music, you have the Lunar Heart Project, you do massage. There's so many things that you do. You're a singer-songwriter. I mean, where do we start, Joy?
Well, yeah, I don't know. I spent a good few days reflecting on my journey, actually. So I don't know where to start. I could start with, talking about the music, really.
Yeah.
How
did you get into that?
Well, I was actually quite late to music. I sort of grew up around listening to Tracy Chapman, and a bit of a dysfunctional family, and I think music was a sort of natural comfort for me.
Oh, absolutely. I think they are for so many people, aren't they? I mean, music really does heal the soul, doesn't it? You can just get lost in music, can't you?
Yeah, and I think it kind of gives you, I think particularly for me, Tracy Chapman was very, emotional and very truthful, so it gave me that access to a different perspective of life, which was quite amazing, actually, at a young age.
What age were you at that time when you listened to Tracy?
I was, from the age of 5. I was obsessed with her. I thought I was a man, actually.
Yeah.
I would listen to about the age of, 10, 11. And then it wasn't until... I think I had a car accident at the age of 5,
Wow.
and that was a bit of a life changer. So it got me more into the healing side of life.
That must have been extremely traumatic. I mean, at the age of 5 to experience something like that.
Yeah, it was massive. I was in hospital for 5 months.
Good.
But I have really good memories about it, in the sense that I had a profound sort of spiritual experience where, I was unconscious for a couple of weeks, and I had this sort of light tunnel experience, and came out of that, and I sort of woke up, and I was just like, what? Why am I here? I was so happy to go to this light. But I think from a young age, it really got me very empathic and very much questioning, at the age of 5, I was like, why am I here?
Yeah. Wow. So you actually saw that white light?
I did, yeah.
Wow.
And I think that must have changed things to me. I think it gave me a lot of confidence.
I mean, can I ask, because I'm sure a lot of our listeners that are tuned in tonight, and I will give you numbers and links to be able to get in touch with us to ask Joy any questions that you may have. But, I mean, what did that feel like when, because I'm sure our listeners are wanting to know, I know I do, what did it actually feel like to see that light?
It just felt like going home. I was so happy, and I was sort of walking towards the light, and it was very familiar. And then when I got sucked and pulled back and opened my eyes, I was really unhappy.
Wow. And that's when you came back to the earth. Boom.
Yeah, and I sort of opened my eyes and I said, the first thing I said was, why am I here? And my mum said to me at the time, maybe you came for a reason. And I was just like,
bless
and
you.
then, yeah, that became my obsession of trying to find out why we're here.
I think some of us at the age of 40, 50 and 60 are still asking, I have to say, Joy, why are we still here? But
Me too.
Yeah. Wow. So that's amazing. So that was where your spiritual journey began at the age of 5.
Yeah, and I think I became, when I was in hospital, because I was in hospital for a long time and I had my leg tied up and everything, but I sort of came to a conclusion there that, you know, there's a lot of people suffering in the hospital, and there was one day I made this boy laugh. He was a friend of mine, and it was just like this epiphany moment. I was like, oh, I think I want to come for that, you know, to make people happy. And little did I know it's such a big journey to understand how to be happy and smile.
Now, and I know that your father, he loved music as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he was into blues music, so he played the guitar. And he gave me, thankfully, my first guitar at 18, which I just played relentlessly until I actually played till my fingers bled.
Oh, bless. So did you have lessons then, Joy, or was this something that is self-taught? I mean,
I have had no lessons. I actually felt a very strong calling because for many years I was very hungry to understand like spirituality.
Yeah.
And there was a conscious point where I realized, you know, like we all do, probably like the answer comes within. So I realized that if I got trained to do music, it might actually interfere with my own expression, the expression I want to come through. So I chose to not do that, but I chose to go and live in nature on my own and literally like empty myself and sort of, I guess, learn to be a channel.
Wow.
Yeah.
And was that just simply by you sharing time on your own with yourself and connecting to that deep inner relationship?
I think it's been an ongoing journey. So it started off like that. I think it was a whole process of doing Vipassana meditation, and look, I was a pretty intense sort of spiritual seeker.
Yeah.
So I would literally I think you get really hungry, don't you, at the beginning? You're like, I've got to find the answer. Yeah. And I lived in nature for about 5 years, and I would do things like, you know, fast for 15 days and sit in one spot for a whole day and like really wanted to feel something else inside. I was
close to nature and to the wind and to the sunshine and to the earth. Absolutely. Yeah, I can totally understand that feeling. One spot.
Yeah.
I did that once, actually. I stayed in one spot for, it was a day. Yeah, for a whole day I just stayed in one spot other than having to use the bathroom when I needed to. But yeah, just in one spot.
Amazing. Yeah, it's incredible. Like when you start to learn to be a bit more still and you can kind of really, start to see the natural rhythms and start to see nature as a teacher. So that for me was like really exciting. I was just like, and I would just like question it, you know.
What did you actually learn at that point? I mean, you know, when you said you were questioning it, what were you asking and what were you receiving in return?
Well, I think it's the original question of I wanted to understand. So when I found out in hospital, like, how do I make people happy or how do I help people laugh, basically, I started to see a lot of suffering in the world. So I was very driven by this idea of trying to understand people and why there was suffering, why there was sickness, and particularly why we've lost that connection and we're sort of destructing the earth. Like that was very much something that was driving me. So I felt if I could sit and really rebuild my relationship to nature, that I might start to get a bit clearer and get a bit more clarity on it. And I learned so much. There's so much to share. I can't explain.
I mean, was it that you found that the trees were talking to you, that Mother Earth was talking to you? I mean, I know that Mother Earth has such a beautiful, beautiful voice and vibration. You know, her frequency that she radiates out to anybody that connects to her, along with all the elements. I mean, there really are no words, are there?
Yeah, I think it is that. It's about going beyond the words and sort of feeling again our intuition, and learning to trust that. And I think the trees, definitely, I spent a lot of time connecting with trees, and the water, all elements actually. But there was one profound moment, and I was staying in Swansea in an amazing village called Holtsfield, and there was a very magical man. He was quite shamanic. I didn't really know what the word shamanic was at the time. But he said to me, if you want to find any answers to all these questions you've got, you're going to have to go on your own into nature and just sit there. So I went off for a week and a half and literally sat in the spot. And there was a moment where I remember feeling that oneness, you know, after all these tears came and frustration and sadness and everything, it was like I started to tune into my breath and realized, you know, that everything has a thread between it. You know, we cannot exist without nature. So that was a massive breakthrough moment for me, and it shifted something of feeling like alone and alienated to feeling this expansive compassion for life. I was just like, wow, actually, thank you so much. Yeah, it completely changed my path at that point. And I wanted to almost like protect that and also bring people to nature through the singing and music, and try and just give them that opportunity to feel that as well, because it just felt like it broke the whole illusion. And it was so simple, you know, just sitting in nature. I was like, oh, okay, let's do this.
And that realization then that all that you have is your soul.
Yeah, Tracy Chapman.
Oh, my mama told me, 'cause she said she learned the hard way. Said she wanna spare the children. She said don't give us your soul away, 'cause all that you have is your soul. Don't be tempted by the shiny apple. Don't you eat of a bitter fruit. Hunger only for a taste of justice. Hunger only for a world of truth. 'Cause all that you have is your soul. I was a pretty young girl once. I had dreams, I had high hopes. Married a man who stole my heart away. Gave his love, but what a high price to pay. And all that you have is your soul. Don't be tempted by the shiny apple. Don't you eat of a bitter fruit. Hunger only for a taste of justice. Hunger only for a world of truth. 'Cause all that you have is your soul. Why was I such a young fool? Thought I'd make history, making babies was the best I could do. Thought I made something could be mine forever. another hard way, one can't possess another, and all that you have is your soul. Don't be tempted by the shiny apple. Don't you eat of a bitter fruit. Hunger only for a taste of justice. Hunger only for a world of truth. 'Cause all that you have is your soul. I thought I could find a way. Be the system, make a deal and have no debts to pay. Take it all, I take it all, had to run away. Leave myself, first class and first rate. And all that you have is your soul. So don't be tempted by the shiny apple. Don't you eat of a bitter fruit. Hunger only for a taste of justice. Hunger only for a world of truth. 'Cause all that you have is your soul. Here I am, I'm waiting for a better day. A second chance, a little luck to come my way. Hope to dream, I hope that I can sleep again. Awake in a world with a clear conscience and clean hands. 'Cause all that you have is your soul. Don't be tempted by the shiny apple. Don't you eat of a bitter fruit. Hunger only for a taste of justice. Hunger only for a world of truth. 'Cause all that you have is your soul. Oh, my mama told me, 'cause she said she learned the hard way. Say she wanna spare the children. She say don't give us your soul away. 'Cause all that you have is your soul. All that you have. All that you have. All that you have is your soul.
Tracy Chapman there, and all that you have is your soul. Now, Joy, that song's very special to you, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very special.
I mean, it's very profound lyrics there in that song, Forbidden Fruit.
Yeah. Yeah, I was really enjoying listening to it, actually, and just softening. I was just like, oh, beautiful. Yeah, I mean, you can't really say much more else. I mean, all that you have is your soul. I think it comes down to that. And I think that's the thing that, keeps you going and keeps you alive and excited about life. And you got to always remember that.
Absolutely.
So I think that's why I love it so much.
Yeah. It's that creative experience, isn't it, in the physical? Yeah, doing the best that we can while we're here, for as long as we're here in the physical as well. Now, I know that finding your own voice. I mean, you're in nature. You're listening to the rhythms, to the beat of Mother Earth's heart. When did you start to find out about your own voice?
Yeah, so it was actually before I started to go and live in nature, but then I started to become more and more passionate about the environment. And I made friends with this amazing woman called Tamsin, who was organising a thing called Climate Rush. And there was like 15 women dressed as suffragettes, and we walked from Heathrow to Totnes by foot. Wow. So she had horses and carts, and and we were visiting like all the sort of negative and positive projects that were happening around the environment. But I found my voice there because there was a very, very special woman called Ellie Robson, and she came with all these beautiful old folk songs, some English and Irish. And we literally, that was our entertainment, and we sang the same 3 songs for that whole month.
I do that. I have my favourites.
Yeah, and we just did not get bored of them. It was just like again and again. It was a tiring walk. There was one day it was very hot, and I remember this moment where I was walking next to her behind these horses, and I was almost like in a trance state because it was just so repetitive. And then when we were singing the song, I realised my throat was hurting, and her voice was very deep, and I had to relax my throat quite naturally. And I was like, had this moment, I was like, oh, hang on, wait, I think that's my voice.
Wow.
And then I had this other profound moment with this music where it was the first time I realised how powerful music was. And it was that every time we sang these songs, I started to feel very emotional, like I would want to cry. And I was like, oh, wow, every time we sing them, we're going back to this time, and we're reliving these values and these stories. And for me, that just got so exciting because I was kind of like, oh, my gosh, it's the power of storytelling. It's like how we pass on the wisdom from the past. And so, yeah, I think it stirred me to sing and learn old folk songs. Yeah, and I carried on. I moved to Wales, and I had some beautiful friends there, and we used to walk the hills for about 8 months and just singing, playing violin. So very, very folk.
How long did you were walking with this Siberian lady? I mean, how long did you do that for?
Well, the Siberian woman came later. So she actually came... So basically, from when I was in Wales, I felt a very strong calling to go deeper with my spiritual side. Mm-hmm. And so I took off with my bike. I went to Devon.
With a bike, yeah.
Literally. It was a
motorbike, not a push bike, was it?
No, it's a push bike.
Really? Oh, my goodness.
I know. I told you I was extreme. And I got to Devon, and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing here, but I'm here to understand myself a bit more. And basically, I end up living on this land with this incredible guy who just said I could live there. I did a lot of healing work with him. And that's when I came across Carolyn Hillier, who was running the 13 Moons Gathering in Devon. She's an incredible woman, doing incredible work with really honouring and bringing like ancestral ancient tribes forward for these times. And so I told you there's a lot to share. But whilst I was there, I was volunteered to basically help hold this space. There's 13 spaces that all had indigenous people from around the world, and this one was looking after the Siberian Nenets tribe, who are the original reindeer tribe. And I would sing and tell stories every night with her and her friends. And then one night, I was sleeping, and she couldn't speak much English, so she woke me up, and I was like, "You okay?" And her translator, and she said, it was so strong. She was like, "You need to sing." And I was like, okay. I didn't think I was a singer at this point. I was doing art and design and other stuff. And I just sort of dismissed it. And she was like, no, honestly, like, you have to believe 100% or it's not going to happen. And I was like, I'm not really a singer. And she was like, you are. So she said to me, I have people travel around the world to come and visit me to help train them to do this medicine singing. And she was like, but they didn't have the heart, and you feel the music and you have the heart, and that is the key to this medicine singing. And I was very touched, and I still didn't believe it, but it was the first time I understood or heard the word medicine singing. And so that was a bit of a hell of a year.
Wow.
The next year.
To be honest with you, from the age of 5, it sounds like you've had a hell of a life. Honestly, it's amazing. You've gone on pilgrimages. You've walked. I mean, how long? I know I said about the Siberian lady, but I mean, how long did the pilgrimages last for? I mean, when you were walking, you were in that trance at that time, and you're just walking.
Yeah, it was a month. It was a month walking.
Wow.
Yeah, it was phenomenal.
Can I just ask about that time before we fast forward?
Yeah.
But just that time of walking, I mean, what time, I mean, how did your day start when you're walking for the month? How did the day start? Just talk me through that.
Yeah, so, well, there was 15 of us. So we basically slept in this bender, which had all the metal poles and fabric and everything. And we'd wake up quite early. We'd all kind of take all the poles out, pack up. We'd have porridge, breakfast, wash our hair in a bucket.
Wow.
And our clothes were like, there was a point, you know, our clothes were covered in grass stains, and we kind of gave up caring after a while. We were like,
so
was
the water from the river then to wash your hair?
Yeah, we'd get it from like the river, or if there was a house, so we'd ask for water. We'd fill up barrels. Yeah. Yeah, and then there was actually a planned route of places that we wanted to visit. So we met up with like Caroline Lucas from the Green Party on one of the trips, and we visited this green school, and we sort of held a meeting to talk about what they're doing to sort of promote it for other schools. And then we'd sort of, you know, hit the road again, get back, have to put up this massive bender. We were so tired.
So how many hours were you walking for a day?
It was kind of different for different days, so it depended how far the place was. Sometimes it was like a full day of like, it could be, I don't know, like 9 hours.
Wow.
And with breaks and lunch in between and stuff. But then it could be that, like at one point we were in Bristol and we had so many, many beautiful creative people in this group. And so I was really into painting murals at the time. So they said, right, if we go to Bristol, we've got this wall that we're going to basically paint this environmental mural. So that was that was one of the things I had to do. And then we'd sort of pack up our stuff.
And you'd be off on your way again. I mean, did you have lots of people stopping you and asking you questions and what were you doing?
Yeah. Oh, my God, yes. We had police stop us. We had... we had a bit of confrontation as well. Like, cars didn't really like that we were on the road with horses.
Right.
So there were a few, like, moments of, like, heated sort of tension. Yeah. But we had to sort of own it, you know, and just be like, okay, yeah, we spoke to, like, media people. We also handed out, like, flyers in one place. And spoke, just talking about environmental issues.
And I guess it's going back to the beginning as well, Joy, isn't it? Where you said, you know, at the age of 5, what were you here for? And it was to enlighten people. It was to make people happy. It was to make people aware at some degree, or maybe even touch them with a seed about what you were doing for your walks at that particular time in your life.
Yeah, I think I've had to, well, as a sort of creative person, I've had to adapt a lot. And, you know, for me, I see at stages it felt kind of overwhelming because I was like, who am I? What am I doing? But I realized it was actually a psychic woman said to me, the issue with you is you're trying to look for that one thing that you need to do. And actually, once you realize you've got she actually said, once you realize you've got many strings to your bow.
Absolutely. Yeah.
you're really flourish and flow because you need these different tools. You know, and life became a bit easier when I allowed myself to start to, like, listen to life and be guided as well. I was a bit like, okay, so maybe this phase is completing, but it's opening to something else.
Absolutely, opening other doors, yeah.
It takes so much courage to let go and trust, you know, and to give up your identity. Like, I was a designer and I had to let it all go. And that was painful.
Yeah. I mean, do you find that you still tap into that aspect of yourself as a designer, or has it completely
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do graphic design for musicians, so it comes back in, and also making the harps. The design side was really helpful with that. And making videos for music. I've got all these sort of skills that I understand now why I've got them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Every experience we have in life certainly brings us to the person that we are today, isn't it? So, I mean, if any of our listeners tonight have got any questions that they'd like to ask Joy, please feel free to text in. It's 60777. Just remember to put PWR before your message. Also, you can email us at studio@purewestradio.com. I'm sure we've got some of your lovely friends listening tonight, Joy. Have you got any shout outs that you want to do?
Oh my God, so many. I would very much like to give an incredible thank you to you.
Oh, bless you.
And Fan, who actually set me up. She was on the radio with you
She's a
before.
sweetheart, isn't she? With Lorna and also Jules. Amazing ladies.
Yeah, she is incredible. Yeah, and just, all the harp sisters, because they're so strong, and we're really on a big journey. I'm going to share Vicky O'Brien's song later, so hopefully she's listening, and yeah, she's coming through really strong, and you need to check her out.
Do you know, a big round of applause, woo, 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 to all you gorgeous women, and definitely we're going to get them back on the radio and new ones as well. I know your story is massive. I know we've only just touched the tip of the iceberg. I'm aware of that. But, and we will have you on again to get more information. But for the rest of this show, we've got our next track, which you've chosen, was Motorcycle Diaries. Now, why was that a chosen track?
For me, I listened to this song. I can't explain. Some songs you can't explain, but you'll hear it and you'll feel it. And it was when I was living in Wales. I played it absolutely every day for about 2 years. Anytime I felt sad, the sound of it just started to make me move and dance and feel really happy. So, yeah, maybe you'll feel it. And I cannot pronounce the name of the song.
I'm so glad. It's Motorcycle Diaries.
Yeah.
My goodness, what a beautiful piece of music there, Joy.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
It's absolutely amazing, my goodness. I mean, that has so much meaning for you as well. You said you listened to it. Was it? Did you say every day, was it?
Yeah, literally almost every day.
And what was it that you got from that song?
I think probably around that time, where I was sort of digging deep into sort of questioning life, trying to figure out where I was, I sort of hit deep depressions, and I felt the pain of the earth, and I felt, basically I hadn't learned how to master my mind, and, it became almost quite like almost like I was paralyzed. I'd wake up and I just thought, oh God, I'm awake again. I really didn't want to be on the planet. Yeah. And I didn't know at that point that I was like a co-creator on the planet. But I was, I used to get stuck in all kinds of thought patterns and loops and, be really when you're just like crying from your belly. Yeah. And feeling completely alone and lost. And
I'm sure, I'm sure there's so many people that are listening tonight that can totally resonate with what you're saying, whether it's at some point in their life or if they're feeling like that at this moment in time. But you certainly listened to music and found a way forward, didn't you?
I did. I think it was... So I used to write poetry and I used to pour out all my feelings in poetry. So when the music came, it was another way to sort of express and release and really start to use the singing to transform my mood, basically. And, at that point, I hadn't written my own songs, but I was getting a lot of healing and comfort from learning other people's songs, like sort of Annie Briggs. There's a band called This Is the Kit. So no, it definitely helped, and I think there's also a lot of suppression in this world around a voice. I think a lot of ancestral blockage. A lot of people I met, they had been shut down in some form, told that they sounded awful, or told to be quiet. And I think when I began to start singing, all of that grief came. You get a locked throat, you get a tight chest. And when I started to learn that if I kept moving through that uncomfortableness, even though I couldn't make a nice sound, I would get visuals that came with it, like, why is this pain here? And I would sing it through, and then another layer would come, and it would just keep singing until I got a bit lighter. And then the sound of my voice mirrors my mood as well.
Wow, so, that certainly is an amazing healing journey. I know your story hasn't ended. I know that you're going to be able to give us some insights, some tools, techniques to be able to find our own voice frequency later on in the show. But we do have Jules, bless her heart, Jules Barker, who has messaged in, and she's saying that she's sending so much love. Amazing and inspiring as always. She had the pleasure of hearing you perform live, and she said, I must say that Joy's gifts are truly heaven sent. And she's saying, big love, sis, as always.
Oh,
she's
beautiful.
A sweetheart, isn't she, Jules Bacon? She is indeed. She is.
She's amazing. Yeah,
absolutely.
Thank you, Jules.
She's an amazing woman. Back on the show soon, Jules. We said about this healing journey. Now, part of Heart to Heart is where we radiate out that healing energy to all those in need tonight. So if you have friends, you have family, you have loved ones, maybe it's even your family of animals, maybe it's even your plants that are needing that extra TLC at this moment in time, just sit back, relax and enjoy. Resonate your thoughts as I send out the healing energy to all those in need tonight. As always, this is Michael Jackson and Heal the World.
think about the generations and to say we want to make it a better place for our children and our children's children, so that they know it's a better world for them and think if they can make it a better place.
There's a place in your heart, and I know that it is love. And this place is much brighter than tomorrow. And if you really try, you'll find there's no need to cry. In this place, you feel there's no hurt or sorrow. There are ways to get there if you care enough for the living. Make a little space, make a better place, heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying. If you care enough for the living, make a better place for you and for me. If you want to know why, there's a love that cannot lie. Love is strong, it only cares for joyful giving. If we try, we shall see. In this bliss we cannot feel. There are dreams, we stop existing and start living. Then it feels that always love's enough for us growing. Make a better world, make a better world, heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying. If you care enough
And of course, that healing energy will continue to radiate out throughout the night. This is John Lennon and Imagine.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger, or brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one.
So, as we said, we do have the very talented, multi-talented, I have to say, Joie de Winter. Now, Joy, you do so much, as we said. You do massage, you do music, you do that voice facilitation. I mean, tell us a little bit about that as well.
The voice facilitation.
Yes. How can you aid and benefit our listeners?
Oh, wow. Well, so I was holding heart song circles for 3 years, sort of every weekend in nature. And I think what I found there, which was reoccurring, you know, often people don't even consider to explore their voice because it's very much linked to their power and their truth and being seen and heard in the world. And what I found really helped was to help people, first of all, if you were to just sit there and close your eyes and do a deep breath and really coming back into the body and slowing yourself down. And we need to kind of nurture a sense of safety because somewhere along the line we didn't feel safe to express. And you can do that through meditation. You can really feel your energy going into the earth. You can really breathe up that energy of the earth up through your center, up the top of your head, connecting you and bringing that sense of solidness and love and just softening that energy. And then often what I would do is really give space for that fear and that tension without shaming it and welcome it. So I would kind of really say, you know, it's okay, like, what's coming up, and breathe through it. And I would also kind of say, like, when people are kind of in the space where they start to make primal sounds, starting very simple. We make sounds all the time. We're kind of making sounds when we're tired, when we're happy. You know, like sounds like when you're like, oh. Yeah. And one exercise I would do is I would get it to take in turns for someone to express a sound. So, you know, say you took that sound like, oh, like you're fed up, you know, and I would say, really feel it in the body, really amplify it, repeat it, make it louder, and bring this energy, instead of fear, bring this energy of curiosity and play. And that's kind of when I saw a lot of breakthroughs of people when their inner child came back.
Can I ask, is it like a tone that people would release from their throat, from their voice, from deep within them? Is that what it is? Is it that sound? Does it become just a noise, or does it develop into some sort of melody or a tune of some kind?
Yeah, for me, I would always start with a very simple toning sound. So I would ask people to sort of hold their hands out, like, so say we're in a circle, and visualize someone or something that you want to send love to. And just together we make the same sound. So it could be something like Om.
Yeah.
And that's just starting to open the voice. So you want to warm the voice up. And once people start to get comfortable with this expression, they start to understand that when they're making a sound, it's energetic. And then you can, like, gently weave other things. So you can turn your hands inwards, you can put them towards your face, and you can make the same sound, the Om sound. And you encourage people to receive the energy to themselves. And then you can do things that you send that sound together around the circle. So it's really starting to build up this energetic space. And then you might want to do something, if you want to bring words in, you could have your name. So you could have your name sung to you, or you could sing your name out. And I might have done like a journey, like a shamanic journey into the earth, and they meet their ancestors, they clear some blockages, and then they ask their ancestors to pass them certain words as a gift. Something that they want to work with in the next month. And when they come out of the meditation, they have like the opportunity to have a drum and to just like have like a few minutes or 4 minutes to just drum and start to speak the words, but then explore how that actually feels to express that word. So say it was power, like, you know, they might be kind of going power, power, power. Wow. But then they might find a melody that expresses it to them. So, you know, it's kind of like, you know, when you say you love, you know, if you say I love you, it's got a melody to it. You don't say I love you. Yes, yes. You'll be like, you know, I love you. Yeah. And you can feel it, you know, and I think with every mantra or words that we want to use, we can this is the thing that excites me the most, is we have the ability to conjure up any energy we want based on the sounds and words and visualization. So, you know, if you're feeling tired, you might be like, oh, the energy of a bear really empowers me, or the energy of an oak tree. And you can just tap into that and almost like imagine you're this oak tree, or you sing the energy of what it feels like to be a bear. Yeah, so I find this really, really exciting. And
when are you coming to Wales, Joy?
Actually, I want to visit. There is an amazing musician there. I don't know if you know her, Maybird. I'm trying to get her to contact you because she's. I think we're quite similar in that we sing with the earth and for the earth. Yeah. So maybe we can organise something.
I know lots of people, lots and lots of people that would certainly love to connect with you and all of your beautiful friends, including Jules Barker. You know, I know so many people that would love to. One of my favourite affirmations as a therapist myself is, and I could really resonate with what you were saying about the words, and something that I know works so well is, I am the purest of love. I am the purest of love. I am the purest of love. The purest of love. I am the purest of love. And the understanding as well, I have a body, but I'm not my body. I am the purest of love. I have an emotion, but I'm not my emotion. I am the purest of love. I have thoughts, but I am not my thoughts. I am the purest of love. The purest of love. I am the purest of love. And I think just listening to what you were telling me about how you can resonate with that voice and the earth and ourselves, you know, going back to that Tracy Chapman track, you know, about your soul. I mean, it's right there. Right there. It's all incorporated, isn't it? All like that grand matrix. Perfect.
Yeah, that was beautiful, by the way. Thank you.
Yeah, no, it just reminded me as you were talking, and I was just listening to how you were describing it. I could feel it. I could feel the Earth's energy just becoming one. And, you know, even in a studio where there's a lot of technical, it's just been able to feel those vibrations and the rhythms, because they're always around us, aren't they?
Yeah. And I think the beautiful thing about the voice and this healing way of singing is it's ever unfolding, and you know, you can tap into words, but like along the journey I found it's taken me deeper and deeper and deeper. For example, like, so after going to meeting those Siberian lady who was like, you need to do medicine singing, I was called to set up this heart song circle, and there it's like I understood that we have to let go. We have to come. The more you can let go, even sometimes letting go of words, you know, and we go into intuition flow. That is such an exciting place, because what comes through from that natural expression in a group, it goes all over the place. And if you allow it to take you and to teach you, you know, you visit ancestors, all of a sudden you've got this ancestral voice coming, and you're like, where is this? Or you've got this sound of like the spirit of the trees, and you're like, that's not me.
It's amazing.
And it's, you know, it's using the voice to tap into this subtle world that, you know, gets numbed out, that we can really awake again. And, and then the whole other level of like, we're going to Mexico for a year, like, and working plant medicines took me to a whole other level that freaks me out a bit.
I mean, I know you've picked, we've got 2 songs here as well, another couple of songs that we've chosen before we get to your beautiful music yourself. The one by Richard Thompson and Bees Wings.
Oh, yes. Yeah, so that will be jumping back a bit where I was on the pilgrimage. And it's good to honour that, because actually, like, all music is healing, I'm realising. And the folk singing it carries a different vibration. And you'll hear the difference between Beeswing, which is quite melancholy, and the vibration of a bit of melancholy, a bit of sadness. But later, when we play maybe like a Mexican song, you'll feel the transition I had to go through. It was like, oh, okay. So yeah, this is Beeswing.
I was 19 when I came to town. They called it the summer of love. They were burning babies, burning flags, the hawks against the doves. I took a job in the steamy down on Cauldron Street. I fell in love with a laundry girl, was working next to me. Well, she was a red thing, fine as a bee's wing, so fine a breath of wind might blow her away. She was a lost child, well, she was running wild. She said, as long as there's no price on love, I'll stay. And you wouldn't want me any other way. Brown hair zigzagged around her face, and a look of half surprise, like a fox caught in the headlights. There was animal in her eyes. She said, young man, oh, can't you see, I'm not the factory kind. If you don't take me out of here, I'll surely lose my mind. Well, she was a red thing, fine as a bee's wing, so fine that I might crush her where she lay. She was a lost child, well, she was running wild. She said, as long as there's no price on love, I'll stay. And you wouldn't want me any other way. Of wind might blow her away. She was a lost child, as she was running wild. She said, as long as there's no price on love, I'll stay. And you wouldn't want me any other way. We was camping down the Gower one time. The work was pretty good. She thought we shouldn't wait for the frost, and I thought maybe we should. We was drinking more in those days. Tempers reached a pitch, and like a fool I let her run with the rambling itch. Oh, the last I heard, she's sleeping rough, back on the Derby beat, white horse in her hip pocket, and a wolfhound at her feet. And they say she even married once a man named Romany Brown, but even a gypsy caravan was too much settling down. And they say her flower is faded now, hard weather and hard booze, but maybe that's just the price you pay for the chains you refuse. Well, she was a rare thing, fine as a bee's wing, I miss her more than ever words could say. If I could just taste all of her wildness now, if I could hold her in my arms today, but I wouldn't want her any other way.
So special,
isn't it? That was such a beautiful song.
Yeah, it really touches me, and it was actually one of the first songs that made me want to write songs. I was just like, oh wow, you can really go there. But yeah, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you for giving us that song. It's the first time I've heard it, and it's very, very beautiful. But you, as you said, your journey between the two of that sense of feeling and also Mexico.
Absolutely, yeah, big jump. Yeah, so at one of my heart song circles, a woman called Maite came along and said, "Oh, you're doing what they do in ceremonies in Mexico," and she mentioned ayahuasca, and part of me really resisted. I was very like anti anything, any drugs, anything growing up, and I was like, okay, let's see. And yeah, so I decided to go on an adventure, because a lot of the stuff that was coming up in the heart song circles was getting really powerful, and I wanted to know how to hold it deeper and where else to take it. So I took a risk, and I went to Mexico with this intention to understand how sound and singing can really create big change. And I ended up, there was 3 really strong moments, well, many moments there, but one of them was traveling up to the mountains in a place called Huautla, which is the sort of village where this woman, Maria Sabrina, came from. And she sort of brought sort of mushroom medicine to the West, or they took it from her, I'd say. Yeah. And yeah, whilst I was there, I had no intention to work with this plant medicine, but it was basically the village for that. We went there to go and meet this 13th grandmother. I was a bit obsessed with 13. And we went off. The ceremony was 8 hours. We're in this little tin hut in the dark. It's a very religious setting. And when I was there was a moment where literally I felt like I was going to die. I couldn't move. I was cold. And she could read everything about me. She was kind of saying, "Oh, you're reliving a death. You got run over when you're younger. You were given too many drugs." And I was just like blown away. Wow. And I could feel the pain in my back. And she said, "Oh, the pain in your back is because you didn't have a song when you came into the world." And I was like, "Ow, that really hurt." Wow. Meaning as well, like you weren't welcomed. I think when I came into the world, like my mum and dad split up, and there was a lot of rage energy. And she started singing. She said, "This is your song." And I was, I was in tears. And that was like a first lesson about understanding the power of, of singing, and singing for mothers and parents to sing to their bellies. It's really, really, really important. And yeah, once I stopped dying in the ceremony, she asked me to sit up, and she was like, "I need you to help me now, to help this other person." So I was just like, "What are you talking about? I'm literally dying." Yeah. And she said, "I need you to let God sing through you." And I'm quite closed about religion in that sense. So I was like, "I don't believe in God." Yeah. And she pressed like side of my chest, and literally this sort of Jesus God energy came straight into my heart and it was like light everywhere. And I was just like, "Oh my God, that is incredible." I felt love in a way that I'd never felt it before. And she was like, "Do you believe now?"
Oh, bless her.
And I was like, "Okay, maybe." So basically, she was saying to me, you need to sing, but let spirit come through you. And I started to sing, and she said, "No, you still have sadness in you. So you're going to stop singing for a while, but it's going to be okay." So I was freaking out. So I was like, "What do you mean I'm going to stop singing?" And anyway, I did stop singing, because every sound I made just sounded like it had sadness in it. I was like, "Oh God, I can really hear it." And then I ended up doing another ceremony where the sort of shaman was a bit fake, and somehow I ended up having to hold the ceremony for my partner. And yes, it's a woman, and she said she had a pain in her belly, so she was like, I need you to go in there. And the next thing I know, I'm sort of inside her body visually, working with the mushroom medicine.
Amazing.
And all these songs are coming through. They were nothing to do with me. And I felt the songs actually moving the sickness I could see in the body, through the body and out the hands. And she was just like, oh, my God, you're so powerful and magical. I was like, it's not me. It's not me. And it really woke me up. It showed me a lot about how to use singing, how to access that space, and to not undervalue the power of when we make a sound. We're creating a vibration that really changes the structure of our body. You know, we're made of water as well. You know, you probably know this. And when you're making vibration, you're healing yourself. So I got to see that, and it was such a blessing. Yeah. And then the last teaching I got was working with the mushrooms again with Agua Azul. It was this waterfall. And there, I asked again, please show me the power of sound and singing. And these stars, literally the stars were flickering. It was like codes. And again, the sounds were just coming out of me. And I visually saw the sound go into the water. And almost like these spirits in the water, that it's kind of showing me that the rivers are sort of like veins of the earth. So when we sing to the water, we're literally able to transform everything, because that water is then delivered to the trees, to the air that we breathe. It's going up to the clouds. It's watering vegetables that we eat. And it just blew my mind away. And I thought, okay, I've got the message.
Absolutely, yeah. And more time of memory, doesn't it? So, absolutely.
Yeah. So it changed that habit, you know, that last sort of melancholy folk connection to singing. All of a sudden I was like, okay, now I understand that it's really important, the vibration that we sing in and the intention and where we're singing from. And this is what you'll hear in this next song, the Alonso del Rio. It's called El Bismo. And I used to play it every...
Yo no conocí una tarde parado frente a un gran abismo y ni siquiera me miró. Poderoso el viento que subía por aquel acantilado, sosteniendo su emoción. Solo dos talones en la tierra, todo el cuerpo en el vacío, sobre el aire se apoyó. Se me heló la sangre recordando si es que en lo que he caminado había visto tal valor. Ahora sé que hasta el viento se inclina ante el amor. Ahora sé que hasta el miedo termina sirviendo al amor. Su cuerpo parecía flotar sobre una nube irreal, entre la mente y la materia. No existe el bien, no existe el mal, ya no hay frontera que cruzar, solo nos queda la conciencia. De pronto retrocedió y me miró lleno de amor, aquel señor del gran abismo. Solo una frase y se marchó, eres solo tu respiración, en paz yo doy y en paz recibo. Ahora sé que no hay nada, corazón, que cariño. Ahora sé que el gran maestro corazón es un abismo. Solo el amor puede curar, solo el amor puede intentar vencer al monstruo del olvido. De olvidarte de quién eres, de quién fuiste y de qué hiciste del amor algo prohibido. Nunca te canses de intentar, de recordar una vez más que eres ya tú lo más divino. Y aunque no puedas comprender, en cada muerte hay un nacer, por eso duele estar tan vivo. Ahora sé que no soy nada, corazón, más que cariño. Ahora sé que la serpiente son maestras de los caminos. Ahora sé que ya no hay nada, corazón, más que cariño. Ahora sé que el gran maestro corazón es un abismo.
Wow, you can just feel the resonance in that music there, Joy.
I know.
Wow.
It's so exciting. I just had a little dance
Did you?
as I was listening.
And you were saying that you listened to that a lot, that tune.
Oh my God, when I was in Mexico, my partner was Mexican at the time, so we used to listen to it every morning, and it just made us so happy. And I think, that's what I learned about, that heart song circle. Like, how can I hold space more? I was doing a lot of shadow work with people, but what the space needed was this celebration, or why are we doing all this work? To celebrate and love and show up to love, So I feel, that was a massive turning point for me.
Wow, that's amazing. Can I ask, have you got any events or any way that people can connect to you, contact you? Let's get some of your details out for people who are listening tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can either just Google me, so it's Joie, Joy, space DE space winter, like it's in the season winter. I do have a link tree thing, so you normally put link tree, so linktr.ee/Joy de Winter Music. Or type Lunar Harp Sisters, something like that. I'm on all the platforms, and you'll see, all the tracks. Hopefully that's enough information.
So that's Joy de Winter. So it's JOIE DE and then Winter. Simply beautiful. Now, I know we're going to get to listen to some of your beautiful music now, aren't we?
Yeah.
Arms, finally. Arms of Grace. Now, tell me about that.
So it was quite a big turning point. So, after being in Mexico, getting a vision of these harps, bringing sort of energetic balance to the earth, I came back to the UK. I'm skimming over this, but it's actually a massive story. But I was given this vision to make these harps, basically, for 13 women. And then when I came back and I started making them, during that time, my mum was very sick, so she had cancer. And everything became very real. Like, all of a sudden, you know, I no longer had to seek out these healing songs. Like, I needed them. Yeah. And they were just pouring through me, and they became very grounded. Like, it became more... I was always giving in life, always serving and helping others, and it was quite hard to turn it around and I'd be like, this is the song I need, and really feel it. So Arms of Grace is a song I actually made for my mum. Oh. Half of it I wrote before, when she was alive, and the other half I wrote after she passed. And basically I wanted to help her let go. And a healer woman came to our house and she said, the best thing you can do to, you know, if you really love someone, if you really want to help them, then you have to go beyond your own need for them to stay here. So she was like, if she can see that you're safe and strong, it will help her let go. So, yeah, you'll hear that in the words. Yeah, so this is quite a good song if people have lost somebody. I know it's a really big journey to go through this process. You know, it's a very unique journey, and yeah, if somebody is going through that, then I just want to say it does get easier, and I completely honour your journey, and just keep going. Yeah.
Arms of Grace.
And all
Wow, there's just so much peace there, isn't there? Wow.
Thank you. That's such an honour to hear that played.
Wow. I could just feel your mother's energy all around you. It's an amazing feeling. Totally amazing. And I know that you said that came at a time. Was that at lockdown? Was it? Joie,
it was just before lockdown.
Yeah.
Big journey.
Wow. Wow, it's amazing, isn't it? And how we're all continue to be interconnected and still be one from the energetic to the physical. Still always together.
Yeah, there's something really empowering and liberating, I think, about going through that journey of, seeing someone cross over and realising they're still there. It kind of sort of wakes up a hope in you as well. Like, oh, wow.
Absolutely. I mean, one thing, and I don't know if this helps any of our listeners, but one thing that I've seen myself as a medium and a healer is that we're always together. I mean, the cycle is that we're in the energetic spiritual body, and then one comes to the earth plane, and then the next comes to the earth plane, and we have a relationship, and then one goes back, and we have a different relationship because we're still together. It's just learning to be together in a different way. And then we go back to the energetic body. But the truth is that we're always in the energetic universal body anyway. It's just a tiny little aspect of us here on the earth plane as well. So your mother is with you and everybody else that she's always known in that energetic space, which is absolutely beautiful. So I know when it comes my turn to go home, that all my children are going to be there. And so I'll be without anything that I did not know, anything here that I thought I might be without, actually will all be there because they'll be there in their energetic self too, which brings great comfort as well.
Definitely. Beautiful. Yeah, my friend said to me once, Joy, you need to chill out, because you're probably going to come back another 40,000 times.
Maybe not. Maybe we'll go and sing somewhere else, Joy. Maybe.
Yeah. I wonder how many songs we've written over this time.
And you've also another track as we move on to your next one, which was "Let It Go."
Yeah, "Let It Go" now so that pretty much came after this one. So that happened, and then lockdown. So I was like, oh wow, this is getting full on. And for me, one thing I really craved in lockdown was being by the water. I have a very strong connection to water, the ocean. And I started painting the ocean in my room, like canvases. And I was going back to my time when I was in Mexico, because it was very healing, Mexico, the water energy there. And as I started to play the song, it was like the energy. It reminded me of the energy of Mexico, basically. So that's the rhythm that you'll hear. And it was a song for me to, every day I played it to myself. So it was just like, let go. Because there was so much fear, wasn't there? And
absolutely, yeah.
Conspiracy, all this stuff. And,
absolutely.
I was just sort of luckily I was able to sit in the center and watch it all. At times I even had to go through a process of accepting, like, oh, maybe we're all going to die. Okay. So this song came to really keep my focus clear and my heart open and trust. It was just like, let go. So it's the energy of water cleansing. So I always say to people in ceremonies, if you've got something, you need to let go of. Just, have this moment, maybe let the sound, the song support that as a sort of ritual for you tonight to kind of be like, soften the layer and really just dropping into your heart. Who we are, feeling beautiful, feeling safe. Enjoy.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, that sounded so empowering.
Amazing. I'm so glad you got to hear it.
Wow.
Yeah, I just released this song, so I have to say a big thank you to Salvo Spina, who's an Italian producer in London. He's absolutely great to work with.
Amazing.
Yeah, and I hope you had a good release, whoever is listening to that.
Yeah, that was
making
wonderful.
space for new creative energy to come in. Yeah, we're running out of time, so I do want to share.
It was amazing. I have to say, I felt very empowered in that song. It was amazing.
Oh, that's really good. Yeah, it was nice to bring the drum in there. Yeah. So I was having a little thought, actually, when I was listening to it. That original question of a child kind of saying, why am I here? And, I think it's that, I see life as a sacred playground. We are creators. And, this next song, I start to get a bit more, allow different parts of myself out. I grew up in Carshalton. There is this sort of urban edge to me. And after all this spiritual journey, I start to embrace these other parts. So this next song it's an invite for people to remember that they're creators and to steer our direction from fear to creation and presence. So, yeah, have a dance if you're up and get creative.
1,000 Doors by Joie de Winter.
Where you wanna go, my love, my love.
I have to say, Joy, you have an amazing voice. My goodness.
Thank you so much.
Wow. Wow.
That was brilliant. That song hasn't even been released yet, so
oh my goodness!
Beautiful.
Exclusive to Pure West Radio.
Exclusive, yeah.
Exclusive. I mean, how can people get hold of your music?
So I'm on Bandcamp. I'm on Spotify. I've got a website. I'm on Facebook. Yeah, if you just hunt my name down on Google, the Joie space DE space Winter.
Joy de Winter. Perfect. Now we've got one final track which we're going to get into tonight's show, and it's actually called Joy, isn't it?
Yes, it's by the Lynn harp sister, Vicky O'Brien, and it's the first track of our album. She said she did dedicate it to me, so I guess all our doors are open of our heart. What else can we have come in as joy? So thank you so much for letting me share and enjoy.
Thank you so much. I have to say thank you so much to you, Joy, for taking time to be on our show tonight. This is our final track of tonight. So from Joy, from myself, Lynn, Sheryl Perfect, and all the team here at Pure West Radio, lots of love.